Hello and welcome back to Geek Space. I'm Cade and I got no one with me. So we all know how this is going to go. It's a quick video you guys all want and need. I still got a crew. Don't think that I'm going to now be doing this alone. It's hard to do it alone. Scheduling issues. You know, we all have lives. We're not just working Geek Space. This doesn't actually give us money. New season, new setup. I feel like we do this all the time. We actually tried to move downstairs, if you guys remember that video, but it's too echoey. It's actually echoey in here too. We used to have this mattress in here and it suppressed the noise, but I threw that out because we don't need it. Now we have more room. There will be stuff on this wall that'll help with the noise level. So just bear with me now, and maybe for the next couple videos, and we'll definitely improve. But let's jump in. Today we are reviewing Blue Beetle. Just saw it, and you know how we usually do. I'm going to give you guys the spoiler-free review. Then I'll let you guys know when to go watch it. 5 out of 5 rating. I went and saw it with Chad, so it got the Geek Space double stamp of approval that this is a 5 out of 5 movie. Honestly, it's one of the best DC movies since Man of Steel. That's taking it up, to be quite honest with you. Like, Man of Steel was good. It was a great DC movie. It really was. And I was hoping for great things from the DCEU when Man of Steel came out. Now we have Blue Beetle. Again, it's one of those confusing movies that's like kind of, in the DCEU. It's actually the 14th installment of the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. But James Gunn did confirm that Blue Beetle, I'm going to butcher his name throughout all of this, but Zolo Maraduena, I did 1.5 years of Spanish in high school, bear with me, but Zolo, Jaime Reyes, who's played by Zolo, he is sticking around for the DCU, the DC universe that is being ran by executives James Gunn and Peter Safran. So here's the thing though with this movie. I'm pretty sure we can say that this is the unofficial start to the DC universe, because there was mention of Superman and Batman in this movie. That's not spoiling anything, don't worry. So they're established characters, which we already know. James Gunn has confirmed we're not getting an origin for Batman or Superman. We already know their origin. So they're already established characters, right? Yeah, we didn't get any cameos, which I love. Honestly, I feel very refreshed that we didn't get any cameos from anybody in the DCEU. I'm ready for a fresh start. I am. And with the casting of Superman and Lois and a bunch of different characters for Superman Legacy, we're getting that refresh. We're getting that fresh start. This movie, again, unofficial DCU movie, was that fresh start. We got just an origin story of Blue Beetle, and it was so nice, so refreshing. It was great. It really was. And 5 out of 5. The only thing I would say I would nitpick at it is that there was really good CGI, and then there was really bad CGI. If you go watch the movie, just pay attention for the flamingos. Then you would understand. Comparing it to The Flash. With The Flash, that was not good CGI. It really wasn't. I feel like it was very sloppy. It was like She-Hulk CGI. Not, just so I could bash on Marvel and DC here for a second. But most of the CGI in this movie was really good. It really was. It was definitely Man of Steel level CGI, to be quite honest with you. How I feel like CGI is going nowadays is I feel like Marvel kind of took a downslide in their CGI, especially from Endgame. And DC is honestly working up. This is definitely an upswing from the Flash's CGI. It really is. So that's really the only thing I had to nitpick with it. It was just some bad CGI here and there. There are 2 post-credit scenes. I'm sorry if I keep looking over here. I now have the notes on a TV, so it's easier for us to read instead of us looking down at the floor at the notes on this iPad. So it's really nice, but I will be looking over to look at my pointers. 2 post-credit scenes. Okay, so stick around for those. I'll get into those later on because one of them for sure is like really big. Yeah, so spoiler alert from here on out. This is where the cutoff is. Go watch this movie. 5 out of 5. I mean, this is good. It is a good movie. It's so funny, and it's like really good for the family. So yeah, okay. We begin with Jaime Reyes, played by, I'm not going to say his full name, but Zolo, who is played in Cobra Kai. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. When he first got introduced in Cobra Kai, I was like, this guy would be a great Blue Beetle. Like, I kid you not, that was my thought process. Because the last Blue Beetle we saw was back in Smallville. And he was a good character. It really was. But, I mean, Zolo, like, he looks the part, and he would play a great Blue Beetle, and he did. He executed this character, I mean, perfectly. This was so great. But anyways, to the beginning of the movie, Jaime Reyes is coming back from college. He's wearing a Gotham Law sweatshirt, which is just a fun nod that he went to Gotham City University. I love the fact that little nods are thrown in throughout these movies. I love it. Like, I love that everybody knows Central City, which is mentioned, Gotham City, and Metropolis. Like, they are all established cities. Speaking of cities, they live in... I'm going to butcher this. This is hard. Again, 1.5 years of Spanish is helping me out here. They live in Palmyra City, which is just made for the character. It was kind of like a last minute director was like, hey, you know what? Let's give him his own city, like Metropolis, Gotham, and Central City, just because this is their own character. Again, like no cameos. This was a Blue Beetle movie. Not a Blue Beetle movie with a little nod at Wonder Woman. Like, thank God they didn't have Wonder Woman in this movie. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of Wonder Woman. So, like, this is his own character, and they gave him his own city, which is really nice. To give a little bit of backstory on who the character is, there has been 3 Blue Beetles in the comic books. I cannot remember the first one. His last name is Garrick. He had the Scarab first, which is what gives Jaime Reyes, the now Blue Beetle, his powers. Ted Kord is in between those two. The Scarab did not choose him to wield the powers, so he's kind of like a Batman-esque character, where he had to make his own gadgets, make his own inventions, which we'll get to those later. But Ted Kord is missing. His sister Victoria Kord, who's played by Susan Sarandon, becomes the CEO and basically tries to make an army using the Scarab's technology. So they find the Scarab. They're going to basically like take its energy and make an army with it. Now that's where we kind of meet the villain, right? Victoria Kord is just not a good person, So Victoria Kord is trying to make this army. Leading this army, like the first prototype is Carapax, which is an enemy from the Blue Beetle comic books who fights Dan Garrett. That's who I was trying to say. Dan Garrett and Ted Kord. In this movie, it's just a Jaime Reyes villain. Ted Kord did not fight Carapax. So that was kind of another fresh thing that I really liked, was the fact that like Jaime Reyes is fighting Carapax for the first time. So it's not like it's a Ted Kord villain passed down to Jaime Reyes. That's what I didn't like about the Spider-Man franchise of the MCU, was that it was a lot of Tony Stark villains fighting Spider-Man. But, that's a different tangent for a different time. So Jenny Kord, who is played by, I'm so sorry, Bruna Marquezine, which, great job. Like, these characters, honestly, these actors and actresses did an amazing job with these characters. They really, really did. But Jenny Kord is the daughter of Ted Kord, doesn't agree with her aunt's vision of Kord Industries. She goes in and steals the Scarab. Jaime Reyes, who's now looking for a job to help support his family, runs into her because she said, like, I'll give you a job. So she runs into Jaime. Jaime's like, you know, again, I'll do anything for this job. And she says, okay, anything, fine. Take this and hide it. Don't open it, don't look at it, just take it and run. So he does, returns to his family, and they open it. His sister and his uncle kind of throw it back and forth. Those two are like the comedic relief throughout the entire movie. They're hilarious. George Lopez, love George Lopez, did an amazing job in this movie. Basically, Jaime steals the scarab back, and it chooses him. And we have this like funny ongoing thing where he doesn't know how to use his powers, and the scarab just kind of takes over and shows him how to use his powers. And it's a really funny part of this entire movie. I don't want to say too much because I don't like to spoil all of it for you guys. Again, like just great movie. So basically, after he learns about it, kind of tells Jenny like what the heck, what's going on. He goes with Jenny to the Cord estate, which is Ted Cord's mansion, and he basically goes, and Jenny takes them. Jaime and his uncle, being them, takes them into. I said Beetle Cave. I literally could not find and remember what it was called, but it's Ted Cord's like headquarters for the Blue Beetle, and basically shows them like all his gadgets. Kind of they want to try to figure out how to get the scarab out of Jaime. Come to find out, it only chooses a new host after the other one dies, which we know that from the comic books. Basically, there's a whole thing. Jaime doesn't want this ability. He kind of like struggles with it, which, you know, again, is part of the whole hero's journey. He doesn't want to be the hero. He just wants to help his family. Speaking of which, Victoria Cord knows that Jaime is helping Jenny, so she goes to try to basically attack Jaime's family, so then he's forced to come out of hiding and help them, which he does. However, we get one of the really sad scenes in this movie. We learn to love Jaime's dad, and then he dies of a heart attack during the attack from Cord Enterprises. So super sad, and that's another reason that it's 5 out of 5 is because when you have a movie that can make you like sad like this, it like immediately 5 out of 5. You learn to love these characters, and then when they die in these movies, you just can't help but cry about it. You know, it's but again, perfectly executed. After the family is attacked, Jaime is then kidnapped, so that way they can kind of take the scarab and make this army that Victoria Cord wants. That's when we then get to see the Bug in action from the comic books. It's Ted Cord's ship. And Uncle Ruby, played by George Lopez, I mean, freaking rocks it with driving that thing. It's so great. Literally, the Reyes family is like freaking kick butt family in this, you know. So they go to rescue Jaime. Jenny obviously knows where they are. Nana rocks. Okay, like Nana was a freedom fighter of immigrants in her past, and she basically brings that back out with grabbing a minigun out of Ted Cord's arsenal and just saving Jaime's butt. It's so funny because she just makes references to the Republic and taking down the Imperialists. It's hilarious. So basically, while the scarab is being taken from Jaime, he gets to see his dad one more time, and his dad leads him to the scarab, and they become like one and just have a symbiotic relationship. Now that is different from the comic books, right? Because in the comic books, the scarab is all about kill, kill, kill. This is how we do it. This is what my race built me to do, is kill. While Jaime is like, no, we're not killing anybody. Why would you want to kill people? That's not what we do. So it kind of gets flipped a little bit because Jaime is going to kill Carapax in the final battle, but the scarab stops him and says, no, like you told me in the beginning, we don't kill. And honestly, I like the dynamic. I'm not upset that we're not going to have these arguments and bickering between the scarab and Jaime about killing and not killing. You know, I mean, it's touched on a bit, but I'm glad we're not going to get that throughout the whole DCU, right? And another thing that happens in the comic books is Jaime can't live with his family anymore because the scarab keeps thinking that Jaime's dad is a threat, right? And I like that that's not it. I love that there was a good like father son relationship in this movie. It makes it even more sad when he passes, you know, and it makes it so much sweeter when he sees him in the afterlife and he leads him into the symbiotic relationship to become the hero Blue Beetle. I mean, it's a phenomenal dynamic, and I love it. I really do. Um, we do get a nod at the end also about where only Jaime can hear the Scarab. Obviously, there's a kissing scene with Jenny Cord and Jaime Reyes, which is a really good like build up to their love story. It's not touched on too much, but it's definitely there, and it's a really good like story to that. Basically, the Scarab tells Jaime like, there's a lot of blood flow going to your mid region, and he says, "Shut up," or he says, "Stop," and Jenny stops, and he says, "Oh, sorry, not you. I'm talking to the Scarab." So that's funny because that happens in the comic books all of the time. Every time he's fighting with the Teen Titans or the Justice League, he always kind of talks to the Scarab, and everybody thinks, "Who are you talking to?" And it's funny. It's hilarious. I love it. So now we're on to the post-credit scene. But the post-credit scene, the mid-credit scene, I should say, does set up a second movie. Basically, the Beetle Cave, Ted Cord's headquarters, starts to light up, and then a transmission comes through, and it says, "This is to Jenny Cord. Your father, Ted Cord, is alive." And I'm pretty sure that it was Ted Cord talking, and basically trying to get to his daughter, saying like, "I'm alive, come find me," type thing, which is big. It's really big. Ted Cord does play a huge role in the DC Comics, and I'm really excited to see him come back and kind of mentor Jaime Reyes into becoming like a really big Justice League member in the future. Really good things to say about this movie. I mean, there's not a lot that I have wrong with this movie. Again, the flamingos at the Ted estate or the Cord estate. That's it. That's the only thing I had to nitpick at. I really like the action. We got a nod to the MCU, which I knew James Gunn as an executive was going to do. He was going to throw this in. Blue Beetle makes a hammer out of the Scarab and slams it down and knocks everybody back. That is a nod to Mjolnir. It is. And it looks like Mjolnir too. It's hilarious. And I love it. And I love that we're going to start getting DC nods in Marvel and Marvel nods in DC. I'm so excited for all those because I loved it. Like back in Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, the first original one, he says Shazam trying to throw out a web. That is a nod to the fact that Shazam and Spider-Man were rivals in the comic books, or at least like, one comic book would sell better than the other one, so it created a rivalry there. So in the 2002 movie of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, they did a nod to Shazam. I love that we're going to get that. I love it. I love it. I love it. We did get a lot of nods to animes as well. Final Fantasy, the sword was used, and the fighting stance and the movement of the sword was used, which was great. That was like the final battle scene was just phenomenal and was great. Honestly, I'm gonna say it. This movie is one of the best DC movies we have. You can hate me if you want in the comments, but this has been great. That's really all I got on this. I mean, there's nothing bad to say. I have no bashes on this movie. I really hope you guys go watch it. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I have a lot of high hopes for the DCU. I really do. After this movie, I mean, I have nothing but high standards for these movies to come out. Especially if we're going to get another Blue Beetle movie, I want it. This movie was so great, so funny. It made me cry, it made me laugh, and it made me sit on the edge of my seat. Really, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stick around. We got a lot of great things coming in the future. I mean, we're working on something big. Can't say what it is. I can't. But I'm so excited about it, and I hope you guys are too. Even though you don't know about it, just know you should be excited about it. And other than that, make sure you follow our social medias. Comment down below what your favorite reference was. Mine is definitely the Mjolnir reference to the MCU. So leave that in the comments. I want to know. And other than that, thanks for geeking out with us.